Hey, what up, YouTube? This is your boy Piff Beats, aka PifferyGoodz, and right now I'm about to show you how to rewire Reason 6 and Ableton 9 Live into Logic 9 Pro. And basically, the reason why I'm showing you how to do this is because mainly with Reason 6, I was having some compatibility issues when I was booting this program up. The main issues I was having with Reason was right off the back was compatibility, latency, some setup and playback issues, some simple routing and connecting issues. But I'm just going to get right into it so you can see what was taking place. So before you even start any program, if you're using Reason 6, you need to go into your hard drive, application folder. Well, that's where mine is. We'll locate wherever your Reason folder is, and then go into your actual Reason file. Then you're going to right click on it or command click to get your information. Once you do that, you're going to make sure your Reason is running in the same bit mode as your Logic. I'm running Logic in 32-bit mode. Reason why, most of my programs and plugins inside of it is in 32-bit mode. And if I upgrade it to 64-bit, I'll lose access to a lot of those plugins, and I really don't want to give that up at the moment. So I'm keeping that in 32-bit, and you need to keep your Reason 6 in 32-bit. By default, when Reason 6 launched on my machine, it automatically booted in 64-bit mode, and I didn't know that. So when I tried to go and rewire it, it wasn't recognizing it. And I had no idea it was in 64-bit, and nothing told me. So I just had to really scour the internet to find somewhat of a video to make sure this was done. So to see how to get this done. So I figured it out, so I'm about to share that with you. So that's step one. So once you figure that out and everything's on the same bit mode, we're going to launch Logic Pro 9. We're launching Logic first because that's our main DAW, and that's where we're going to do all our main sequencing. So once we have that open, Logic 9.18, 32-bit, so you know everything's running on the same page. So there should be no issues as far as that. You have Logic open. We're going to go create new. We're going to go ahead and launch Reason in the background. 6.5, just to let you know I'm on the same build. New project. And for this in Logic, we're going to create a MIDI instrument track. Once we create that MIDI instrument track, we're going to go inside of Reason, and we're going to create a Thor. Bang. Once we create that Thor inside of Reason, we're going to press the tab button. We're going to go to the back, and we're going to actually open the audio ins and out on the hardware interface. Then on top of the Thor, we have our mix box and our mix selector. And this is what we're going to really be using. So right here you see we have the master selection going into the audio interface ins and out 1s and 2. We're going to scrap that. We're going to do all our mastering and mixing this out of Logic. That's the main reason for our rewiring, so we could use these sounds in our main sequencer and add our other plugins and our effects to it. So we're going to take the direct out, of our Thor mixer, and we're going to go into 3 and 4. And the main reason for 3 and 4 is that by default, all instruments go out of 1s and 2s. So no matter what instruments you play, by default, it's going to go out of the 1s and 2s, aka the left and right. That's your the default for mostly all audio interfaces and most the DAWs. So we're going to do this to 3 and 4 so we can have our own separate individual audio track, so we can have our own effects on it and tweak it the way we want, and not tweak and affect the whole entire mix as if we were going to go through 1s and 2s like most programs do. So we're going to press tab, come back across. Once we're back across, we're going to go right back into Logic. Once into Logic, we're going to go select our mixer. We can either go down and click it or press X. Once in our mixer, we're going to press Option, create a new auxiliary track. Once that new auxiliary track is open, we're going to make sure it's stereo. Then we're going to go and make sure the input for that auxiliary track is channel 3 and 4. That's the same output we set for it inside of Reason. And then we're going to go right to this MIDI track. Once this MIDI track is selected, we're going to go to Reason. Once we go to Reason, we just made a Thor. Always select the top one because the bottom one will give you that. The top one will give you this. So once we have that selected, we have our Thor. I'm just going to set the tempo real quick, and we're just going to lay something down, and so I could break down the other issues I was mainly having. Alright, so we're going to quantize that because I kind of went off a little bit right here. So we're going to fix that note. We don't want that. Alright. And you see when I just recorded that, how it played in so smooth. It wasn't really too much latency or anything. Like when I pressed the note, you heard the sound as soon as I pressed it. And the main reason for that is you got to go inside of your Logic preferences and go under audio. Once under audio, you're going to go down to Rewire Behavior, and you're going to select Live Mode. By default, it's going to have it selected for playback mode, less CPU. You're going to want Live Mode, higher CPU load. This is only if your computer could allow it. If it can't, well, we're going to have to just settle for this or find a workaround. But Live Mode, if your computer can handle it, highly suggested, because it's going to turn down the latency to either 0 or little to none latency, so you could be able to work at a more efficient rate. And I didn't know that. And when I was doing this at first, there was no videos out explaining this on YouTube. So that's another main reason why I want to explain that to people who are using Logic through Rewire with Reason or Ableton. So once that's set up, we're going to create another MIDI track. We can either go here, create a new MIDI track by pressing that plus sign, or we could double click our way to greatness. I'd rather do that. So once we do that, we're going to go back into Reason, and we're going to create a subtractor. We're going to go to create instrument, bang, and subtractor. We're going to press tab again to bring itself back over to the instrument rack track. Then from there, we're going to take the subtractor mix box on the top from right here. Let me see if I could get this out of the way. There we go. We're going to take this, and we're going to swing this over right here into 5 and 6. So now we have our subtractor going into 5 and 6. Let's go right back into Logic, and we're going to go right back into our mixer, press X, or you can click it, and create a new auxiliary track. Once that track is up and open, we're going to press stereo, and we're going to go for Reason 5 and 6. We're going to create it. Once it's created, we're going to go right over here into the Reason Rewire, and we're going to select the subtractor, the top one, and we got a nice little bass going right there. So I want to bring this tempo up a little bit because that was kind of slow. So we're just going to go. So now we have our subtractor bass underneath, and we're going to quantize that right there. Subtractor bass underneath our Thor. So I'm going to turn that down a little bit. So now that we have that, another issue I was having, we have to go back into Reason, and they didn't really explain this to you on YouTube when they did their Rewire tutorials, is that you see how I have the subtractor selected and it's playing lovely bass guitar, lovely, lovely, lovely. But we're going to go into Reason, into Preferences, and we're going to Control Surfaces. And you see right here, I have the Axiom 25. I have that unselected. The reason why is because if you have it selected, what they don't tell you in a Rewire video is that once that's selected and then you go back into another and you create a new MIDI track and select a different instrument, now you're playing your subtractor with your Thor. So you just went through all that work and rewired all this stuff and did all these auxiliary channels to come to find out that you're playing two instruments at once, and then you're like, hey, what's going on? Why is it doing that? Most people will figure it out the easy way, like, hey, it's probably being triggered from my MIDI keyboard inside of Reason, or some people like me that was stuck for a while, was like, why is this happening? Had to search the internet to figure it out. I just wanted to make the video for you. So you have to unselect that. So once that's unselected, when you select Thor inside of Rewire, that's all it's going to play. And when you subtract subtractor inside of Logic, through Rewire, that's all that's going to play. So we're going to double click our way to greatness, and we're going to create another MIDI track. With that, we're going to boot up Ableton Live 9. And this is pretty cool. I actually like Live a lot. These guys have been doing their things for a very long time. So we're going to go, since this is booted up, it's in Rewire mode. And that's another thing too, I'm probably a little late, but to make sure everything's working fine, when you boot up Reason 6, it should say Rewire slave mode on the top with the green Rewire button lit up right here. If that is not lit up and indicated, you did something wrong by most likely booting up Reason before Logic, and you have to close everything out, then reboot Logic, and then reboot the Reason for it to be properly in the Rewire mode. So once we're into Ableton, we're going to go from here, we're going to select a pad. Do a snow pad, nothing crazy. Just grab and go. Once that's selected, we're going to go to our ins and outs. By default, when I opened up Ableton Live 9, my ins and outs were not here, and I was trying to figure out where were they. Boom, right here, ins and outs, and they pop right up. So under this notepad, we're going to go to Rewire Out, and then we're going to go to 3 and 4. Since this is Ableton Live 9, this is a different program, it's not going to really clash with the ins and outs for reason. So we're going to go create a new auxiliary channel, stereo. Once we have the stereo, we're going to go and make sure the ins and outs for this one is 3 and 4 as well. Create that. Once it's created, we're going to go to the MIDI track we made inside of Logic, go over to Ableton Live 9. What is that? A snow pad. Then we're going to press our snow pad, and then we have more greatness. So let's see how that will sound with this. Not too good. So we're going to leave it like that. But this is only for tutorial purposes only. So basically, that's how you rewire. And that's how you rewire. I tried to keep it under 10 minutes, but I couldn't. So that's how you rewire from there. But I have a really good treat for you guys with this video. Alright guys, so if you're just watching this video and you're like, hey, thanks for that rewire tutorial, but that seems like a lot of work and it's pretty tedious and I don't feel like going through all of that right now, because it is, in the beginning, I'm including a free template for all 3 of the programs I just showed you how to rewire for to get you started right out the gate. So if you watch the video and you think it's cool and you just want to start working and you don't want to rewire anything yourself, all you just want to do is choose your own instruments, I got that for you right here. So this is for Logic 9, Live 9, and Reason 6. And if you follow the video to exactly how I showed you, you should be having no issues whatsoever. As far as especially with the latency, playback, compatibility, anything. And I'm gonna show you what these templates include and why you should get them. So right off the bat, this is all your Reason instruments. I have them already routed for you. Right here, I have 8 of those. I have our Ableton instruments already there. I have 5 of those, so you're good to go. Then I included 5 software instruments, so you can add your own software instruments to start going from there. I created the left and right for each program, Reason and Ableton, black, so you know, stay away from those. Nothing should be coming out of those. If sound is coming out of those, you're doing something wrong. As far as the Reason tracks, I've built them all the way up. I only gave you 8, but I actually included, I think, 16. So, yeah, because the bus was left and right. So that's 16 tracks all in total. So you actually have an extra 8 here. So if you create more MIDI tracks and duplicate them, you could be able to route them to these, and you'll be good to go from there. Just rewind to the beginning of the video, and you figure out how to do that. And then I even included a reverb and a delay send track. So this is actually my personal workspace. So before I even continue, so if you're looking like, why is this so much and this is so intricate, this is what I actually use when I work. So, because the CPU usage, once you start producing bigger sessions and getting into more intense plugins, you're going to start to see when you start adding all this stuff on top of everything, it's going to really start to add up. But once you do that, you say you got, I'm going to record some MIDI. So we got some MIDI going right there. We're going to record that. But now we're going to quantize that MIDI with the MPC 3000 16th and 8th note quantize grid that I just included. To do 62%, no, I'll do 63. Quantize it by that. So now we have it there. Good to go. And say this is the sound we want, and that's perfect for the record. All you got to do is press record right there on the audio track, and it's just going to print that straight to audio. You know, this is only for tutorial purposes only. So now that we have the audio, we're like, hey, that's a cool sound. The song, put a little reverb on it. Just go to send, so easy. Send, bus, and it's already named reverb. And then you just actually, like if you had the plugin, just turn it up. How much reverb do you want? And then when you press play, I have the reverb turned down a little bit on my end. So that's why you didn't hear like a great, crazy, see right there, the reverb. Turn that up. And Same thing with the delay. So you'll be good to go right out the gate, and this is all free for download. So do remember, if you have any questions or anything, please hit me up via email that I'll leave in the description link, or you can comment below in the comment section and I'll hit you up there as well. But, you know, if you like this video and you like what I'm bringing to the table, please do remember to subscribe, because I'll be bringing more videos like this in the upcoming weeks. So don't forget to hit the like button and download this free template for all 3 programs, and you'll be good to go. So do remember, any questions or problems, hit me up and I'll be able to help you, and you'll be good to go.